When I was in high school choir, I actually sang with a group called the Madrigals. Madrigals. And we were basically like the old 14th century performers that would travel around from castle to castle in England. And we even dressed in period garb, which was a little unusual. You can't exactly buy that at the local Walmart. But we would sing in four-part harmony, and sometimes we would split up a little more than that because there were five of us. But the four-part harmony always meant that I sang the tenor line, and sometimes when I sang the tenor line in rehearsal or by myself as a practice, it didn't sound like the normal song. It sounded like something completely different because what I sang wasn't the main melody line. What I sang was an enhancement to the main melody line. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I want to remind you that unity and conformity are not the same thing. See, the idea that we all would believe exactly the same, that we would live exactly the same, that we would do all things exactly the same, that's not what the original intent of the human will was designed to be. Unison, when you're singing a song, means everyone is not only on the same line singing the same words at the same time, but they're also singing the same note even if it's at a different octave. They're doing exactly the same thing in exactly the same way at exactly the same time, and that's unison. Conformity is a lot more like unison than it's like harmony. But unity means we're moving together with the same purpose, but everyone doing it according to their own gifts and skills, their own talents, their own abilities, their own natural passions, with one goal in mind, with one purpose in mind, with one vision in mind. But not doing it exactly the same way at exactly the same time. That's the difference, in my opinion, between conformity and unity. Unity says we are sold out to the same idea. We're doing the same thing. We're doing it for the same reason. But we're not doing it exactly the same way. I have a friend named Loren who has been in media for a while. And she's facing a real battle in Canada because there's a strong push right now on some ideologies that are requiring conformity of the mass public. And when I say requiring, in some sense, there are actual laws being put in place that say, I don't care what you think, you will think like this. I don't care what your opinion is, what your background is, what your education says, you will think like this, or there will be legal penalties for it. Maybe fines and fees, maybe even imprisonment. And it's about the way you think and the conversations you use. We're not talking about yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. We're not talking about dismantling someone else's life because you disagree with them. We're talking about using a phrase in common conversation that might have up till just recently seemed perfectly normal. But now it offends some, and therefore conformity says, you will do it this way, there is no other way. You've got to squish yourself into this mold or pay the price. That's not unity, that's conformity. That's not harmony, that's unison. You might have heard the phrase lockstep. It means you do it exactly the way that everybody else does it at exactly the same time that everybody else does it. And you do it because someone else came up with the idea that this is a good idea, this is a better way, this is the greater good for all if we will conform to this mold, this model, and this execution. I watched a movie last night that I'm not sure how long it's been out, but Fahrenheit 451 was about the idea that we would burn all books so that people wouldn't be free thinkers, because if there are too many free thinkers in society, there's no happiness. That's conformity, not unity. Unity sounds a lot more like harmony, where everyone is doing their part toward a common goal, but because we're all a little different, we invest our skills, our gifts, our talents, and our passions toward meeting that goal, that vision, that purpose. I want to challenge you today to walk in unity with those around you who are different, but not necessarily conformity to one person's idea. I'm J Loren Norris. You've been watching Leading Leaders Podcast on Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.